Hello again, this is Jeff, N9IZ, and we're back here with the ARD 230 amplifier. This will be episode 2, I guess, of the teardown and rebuild of the ARD. And we're looking here at my workbench, and you can see I've got the power supply pretty well torn apart. And the power supply was one of the issues. It kept tripping circuit breakers, and at 20 some years old, I'm guessing that the filter capacitors were probably pretty well shot. So the first thing we're going to do is rebuild this power supply. I bought a bunch of new pieces from Newark Electronics and got the whole thing all ripped out now. If we look real quick here, we can zoom in. Here's the actual power supply board. This is what we're going to be working on. You can see right here we've got resistors, balancing or bleeder resistors here across the capacitors. And we've also got these regular disc capacitors here, and I can't remember, there's one more up here, one more resistor up here, different value. I can't remember which one that one's actually for. That might be for the metering circuit. So anyway, we're going to replace all of these old carbon, 2-watt carbon resistors and these grungy looking capacitors. Over here I have an assortment of brand new capacitors. These are metal film capacitors, same 2-watt rating, same value. There's a couple more up here. These are what we're going to use to replace the disc capacitors and resistors, metal film resistors instead of the old carbon film type. Here we have, you can see the rectifiers, and I'm going to guess that they're probably okay. They were working okay before it was getting rectified DC, so I don't think that'll be a problem. And here's these high-dollar computer-grade capacitors, electrolytics. These babies are about $40 a piece. They're pretty salty. Take 6 of them in the power supply here. 240 microfarad each. 450 volt computer grade. So here's the old ones on the workbench, along with a bunch of other junk that in miscellaneous projects. All 6 of the old ones ripped out. There's the base. They all set in this base. It's like a phenolic board here, and attach them to the circuit board, attach them to the base, tighten them all up, and circuit board, and we'll be ready to put her back in the radio here at some point. This is going to take me a little while. I'll be unsoldering and cleaning the board up and soldering everything back in. I got my workstation here. I'm going to end up pausing the video because I don't think anyone wants to watch me spend hours unsoldering and resoldering the components. We'll come back after the whole thing is back together in one piece and have a look at it, see what it looks like. Okay, we're back to the exciting intermission now. You can see here I've got a pile of pieces and parts laying down here, and the light come back again, and board is removed of pieces. So what we need to do here is clean the board up a little bit. It's actually fairly grungy. Needs to wipe it all down with some alcohol or something and check everything out. Now, seems like every time you're working on an older piece of equipment you run into unintended consequences, and one of them is solder traces lifting off the board. The board actually looks like it's in really high quality. I mean, it's got the solder mask and everything, but as I was desoldering pieces, I actually noticed that in several places some of the traces came up. Right here there's a solder trace that lifted up off the board, and right here it's missing, it's disconnected where it pulled the pad off with it. There's several other places it looks like parts of the pad pulled off with them. Not really sure why that happened. I don't know if they were just loose to the board, if I pulled too hard or what, but that seems to be the issue. So the next thing I'll be doing is cleaning this board up and trying to repair the traces and make sure everything's good, I'll actually have to check. I'll go through one by one as I put everything on and verify that there's no misconnections. Everything is complete, and put it back together. Hopefully I can just use the traces that are already there and solder them back down again. Otherwise I may have to solder in some wires. But there we go. Empty board. Pile of junk parts. I actually considered, I'm considering actually measuring them and seeing how close they come to the specified value, just out of curiosity, on a 20-plus-year-old radio from the late 90s or late 80s. So I may do that and provide some information on that in the blog, probably not in the video. So I'll come back and with the board all put back together, and we'll recap and go from there. Alright, we're all done with the power supply rebuild now. Back on the bench here you can see the completed power supply with all the new capacitors, all the new resistors, got the diode bank all up on top of there, rectifiers ready, and there's the transformer. Alrighty, there's a good shot of the transformer, heavy duty Peter Dahl hypercell. And here's a close-up of the power supply. You can see all the pieces on there, the new capacitors, the new resistors. There's the big electrolytics down below. And everything's ready to go back in the radio, in the amplifier now. So I've got a couple more modifications to make to the chassis of the amplifier, and we'll put a new power cord on it, and we'll probably be ready to put the whole works back together again. So until next time, I hope you've enjoyed this video and seeing pieces all go back together, come apart and go back together again. Hopefully one more video segment and we'll be powered up and ready to do some testing. Until then, I'll catch you later. 73 for now. This is Jeff, N9IZ.